So we've seen this move to the downside play out on XLM over the past few days. And in my previous update, I mentioned how I was looking at for a 5-hour structure to form this fifth wave. And I'm looking at for this fifth wave to tap into this region between 55.14 cents to 61 cents. And on the move to the downside, we did breach past a key level. So if I zoom in, so that key level sits over here at 38.5 cents. As you can see, and as a result, that then discounted the 5-hour structure that I was looking at for. And the reason being is because the wave 2, which is this wave here, ended up breaching past the wave 1 origin, which is this level here. And what you can't have in Elliott Wave Theory is the wave 2 cross the wave 1 origin. And so we can discount this structure from playing out. And instead, what ended up playing out was a WX structure that I also talked about, where I mentioned that this here was the W wave, and this was the X wave, and this was the Y wave. And we ended up tapping into the Y wave target, which sits between 36.41 cents to 37.64 cents. And so here you can see that we ended up reaching 37.65 cents. And so it's still possible that we see a deep move to the downside. And so, yeah, it's looking likely now that what we are forming is a bigger corrective move to the downside, made up of a WXY structure. And so, yeah, we could be within this Y wave right now. And so it's a case of whether or not what we are forming is a double bottom setup, or we see a deeper move to the downside where we breach past this level here at 36.13 cents. And if we do so, that would then result in a breakout structure, which then further confirm that we are slightly bearish. So if I bring in the Fib tool, what I do is check to see if the Y wave met the minimum requirement. So here we topped off at 47.16 cents. So if I bring this to the right position, so the minimum requirement is this level here, the 61.8% retracement level at 37.63 cents. And so you can see that we haven't met the minimum requirement as of yet. So what that tells me is there is still a little bit more room to the downside. Worst case scenario, we go slightly deeper towards the typical range for the Y wave, which is anywhere between 1 to 1.226. And so here you can see that XLM has the potential to reach anywhere between 30.02 cents to 32.73 cents. And so if I mark this target, this region will also be key. And in fact, if I zoom out, what you can see is this range actually sits below the wave 1 or the wave 2 origin. And so if we do see a deep move to the downside, then that will also invalidate the 5-hour structure, given the fact that the wave 4, which is this wave here, will end up breaching past the wave 1. And what you can't have in Elliott Wave Theory is the wave 4 breach past the wave 1 or the wave 2 origin. And instead, what we'll have forming is a bigger WXY structure to the upside, where this move here formed the W wave, and the WXY structure would form the X wave, and we see that reversal to the upside to form the Y wave. And so short term, we could be slightly bearish, but in the midterm and in the long term, I'm still bullish. And in fact, the wave Y target will actually sit even higher than this initial target that I set out. And so, yeah, I'm not necessarily too concerned if we do see a deep move to the downside. And with that being said, you can see that on the stochastic RSI, the bears do have the momentum on the 4-hour chart. And of course, that is reflected on the price chart where we're seeing this move to the downside. And here we are actually trading below both the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. And we also had a death cross event that took place, which is also a bearish signal. And if I go in the 8-hour chart, again, you can see that we're trading below both the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. And we did see a wick towards the 200 EMA, but then we got rejected, which is also a bearish signal. But with that being said, we are within the oversold conditions on the stochastic RSI. And so what I will be looking at for is for the bulls to regain control of the market and drive the price of XLM towards higher highs. And if that's the case, then that could fall in line with a double bottom setup taking place, and we then see that reversal to the upside. And as far as the daily chart goes, again, we are within the oversold conditions and we are trading below the 50 EMA. And it's possible that we actually remain within the oversold conditions for an extended period of time. And if that's the case, then we could see a deep move to the downside where we could actually retest the 200 EMA. But I will be looking out for XLM to find support at that 200 EMA and then we then see that reversal. But of course, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days to come, and I'll keep you guys updated. And so, yeah, that's just my update on XLM. Hopefully you found this useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit the like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.